Okay. And we are currently over the ferry terminal near 34th Street on the East River, right along the FDR Drive. The fire department currently on the scene of a disabled ferry. Now, it does appear the ferry is secured to the area along the docks, but right now it does not appear to be in a spot where passengers would normally be able to disembark. So the fire department is on the scene, assisting, coming up with a way to get passengers on board that ferry off. We don't know how many people are on board. Again, the fire department is on the scene. We've seen several firefighters walking around with ladders. Just a moment ago, we saw a fireboat and what appeared to be a small Coast Guard boat also coming into the area by the dock. Again, this is a disabled ferry near 34th Street and the FDR Drive. The East River Fire Department is currently trying to come up with a way to get the passengers on board that ferry off. So we can see that the ropes appear to be tied off to the dock, so the ferry at least appears to be secure and that it won't drift away. But again, not in a spot that passengers would normally disembark from, so the fire department is trying to come up with a way to get those passengers on board this ferry off. We can see the fire department boats now on the scene, two of them coming into the dock area. Again, the ferry terminal, 34th Street and the East River. New York City ferry, the lunchbox, currently disabled in the dock area. There are some reports it may be engine problems. It does appear it's not in a spot that the passengers would normally disembark from, one of those areas that you have a ramp that would simply be lowered onto the boat so passengers could walk off. So what we're seeing right now is the fire department trying to make sure that everything is secure, that the ferry won't drift away, and at the same time come up with a way to get those passengers off the ferry. Now the fire department is on the scene. We've also seen divers as well. You can see that one firefighter in that red suit. That's a special diving suit in case they had to go into the water for any reason. Don't know how many people are on board the ferry. At this point, appears to be a calm situation. Again, the ferry is secured to the dock area, so at least the fire department is not dealing with any issues with trying to secure a drifting ferry. But right now the issue seems to be how to get the passengers off the ferry. And we could continuing to follow the situation along the East River, FDR Drive near 34th Street, New York City Ferry, the lunchbox. Had some sort of problem, currently disabled. It is in the dock area. Fire department we've been watching is trying to make sure that the ferry is secure. We did see ropes tied to it when we first arrived, but it appears they've been tying some additional ropes, and there we're watching a passenger now climb off the ferry, stepping across and ducking under part of that fencing alongside the dock. And just to recap, we're watching passengers disembark a disabled ferry in the East River. This is 34th Street by the FDR Drive. The ferry had been secured to the dock area, and the fire department took several minutes to tie off some extra ropes, it appeared, and come up with a way to get those passengers off the ferry. And as you can see, they're stepping across and having to duck under part of that railing that runs alongside the ramp that customers would normally walk down. Where the ferry was in the dock area was not in a spot where we would typically see one of those ramps that the passengers would simply just walk off in normal fashion. So now they're being extra careful. The fire department is on the scene assisting everybody, fire department divers as well, the specialty dive suits that we saw, and additional fire boats as well to make sure there's no issues. But it does appear that everybody that's been getting off this ferry has had no problems simply just stepping off and ducking underneath that railing. Hey, Wanda, I stopped counting, but at least 20 so far. Yes. Yes, still going. Hey, go ahead, Wanda. Okay. And we're continuing to follow the situation along the East River near 34th Street and FDR Drive. New York City Ferry became disabled. It's currently secured up against the dock area, and we've been watching now as passengers disembark. They have to step across onto that ramp area and duck under part of a railing where the ferry was brought. It was not in a typical area where passengers would disembark, where you have one of those ramps that they simply just lower onto the ferry and walk across. It's one of the New York City ferries, the Lunchbox. The ferry itself was named by school children in a contest. That's how it came up with the name, the Lunchbox. The fire department is on the scene helping those passengers get off. Again, you just have to step across onto that ramp area and duck under a railing to get across and make their way from there. There are some fire boats standing by as well, divers in specialty suits, but so far it appears that everybody has been getting across just fine. No issues. We've seen attendants here at the dockside handing those passengers that had bicycles, handing the bicycles over the railings to make it easy for the passengers to get off with them. And numerous passengers have disembarked. There we could see a stroller. You can see several firefighters assisting there. And there we go, another passenger stepping across, ducking under. And once again, it does appear the situation is under control. The fire department assisting all of those passengers get off this ferry. Again, the New York City Ferry, the Lunchbox, currently disabled near 34th Street along the East River, but it is secured to the dock area, so that's at least made these efforts to get the passengers off a lot easier. The fire department didn't have to deal with a ferry floating freely down the river, so that made the situation all that much easier. Hello, Wanda. Hey, I think that's it. The fire department they just stepped across, so I'm assuming that's everybody.